You talk too much. You talk about your plans. You talk about what you're going to do. You talk about the life you want to build, but in reality, nothing changes. While you're talking, someone else is moving in silence, planning, improving, preparing. And when their results show up, it looks like luck, but it's not. It's strategy. There's a type of person who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. They don't announce their moves. They don't look for validation. They don't show the process. They just work, in silence. And that's exactly why they win. As Niccolo Machiavelli once suggested, in essence, the more you reveal, the more power you lose. Because when you expose everything, you weaken yourself. You lose focus. You seek approval. You get distracted. And without realizing it, you trade real progress for temporary attention. So let me ask you something. Do you want to look like you're improving or actually improve? Because in this video, you're going to understand why silence is one of the most powerful strategies you can use and how to apply it in your life, even when no one is watching. Most people think they're moving forward, but they're not. They feel productive. They feel motivated. They feel like they're getting closer to their goals. But it's an illusion. Because talking about your plans feels like progress. When you tell someone what you're going to do, your brain rewards you. You feel good, accomplished, even proud. But you didn't actually do anything. You just simulated the result. And that's dangerous. Because your brain starts confusing. Talking with doing, intention with execution, attention with achievement. So instead of working, you keep explaining. Instead of building, you keep announcing. And slowly, you get addicted to the feeling, without ever doing the work. This is why so many people stay stuck. Not because they lack ambition, but because they leak their energy. Every time you talk too much about your plans, you release pressure. And without pressure, there's no action. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I'm going to start. This time I'm serious. I have a plan now." And then, nothing happened. Not because you're incapable, but because you already felt the reward before doing the work. And your brain said, "That's enough." But it's not. Because real progress is silent. It's repetitive. It's uncomfortable. It's invisible. And that's why most people avoid it. They prefer to talk about success instead of building it. But the ones who actually win, they move differently. They understand something most people ignore. Not everything needs to be shared. Some things need to be protected. Your goals, your plans, your next move. Because the moment you expose them too early, you lose something important. Focus. And without focus, there is no progress. Now be honest with yourself. Have you ever talked about a goal so much that you lost the motivation to actually do it? Comment below, "I've done this," or "Not anymore." Silence is not weakness, it's control. Most people think silence means you're not doing anything, you're lost. You don't have a plan. But in reality, silence is where the real work happens. When no one is watching, that's where discipline is built. When no one is praising you, that's where consistency is tested. When there's no validation, that's where focus becomes real. Because now, you're not doing it for others. You're doing it for yourself. And that changes everything. When you move in silence, you eliminate noise, no opinions, no doubts from others, no pressure to explain yourself, just you and the work. And that creates something powerful, clarity. You stop comparing, you stop explaining, you stop performing, and you start executing. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. That's why people who move in silence seem suddenly successful. But it was never sudden. You just didn't see the process. Because they didn't show it. They protected it. And that's the difference. Most people want to be seen working, winners. They want results. If you keep talking, you feel progress. If you stay silent, you create progress. And in the next part, we're going to break down something critical: why silence makes you more powerful and more dangerous. Silence is not just about staying quiet, it's about control. Control over your actions, control over your emotions, control over your direction. Most people give that control away without realizing it. Every time you share your plans, you open the door for opinions, doubts, criticism, negativity. Even if people don't mean to, they influence you, and that creates hesitation. You start questioning yourself, overthinking, adjusting your path based on what others think. And slowly, you lose your original vision. That's why silence protects you. When you move in silence, you remove external noise. No one is there to doubt you. No one is there to distract you. No one is there to slow you down. It's just you and your execution. And that creates something rare: momentum. Because you're no longer stopping to explain. You're no longer pausing to impress. You're no longer seeking validation. You're just moving. And when you move consistently, without interruption, you become dangerous, not to others, but to your old self. The distracted version of you. The inconsistent version of you. The version that talks more than it acts. That version starts to disappear, and a new one takes its place. Quiet, focused, disciplined. And here's the part most people don't understand. Silence also builds mystery. People don't know what you're doing. They don't know your next move. They can't predict your results. And when success finally shows, it hits harder. Because it wasn't announced. It wasn't expected. It was built in silence. Now that you understand the power of silence, let's make this practical. Because this only works if you apply it. Step 1. Stop announcing your plans. Not everything needs to be shared. Your goals are not for display. They are for execution. The more you talk about them, the less you feel the need to act. So from now on, move quietly. Let your actions speak later. Step 2. Limit who you share with you. Don't need everyone to know your journey. If you must share, choose carefully. Only people who support you. Understand your vision. Don't project their fears onto you, everyone else. They don't need access to your plans. Step 3. Focus on daily execution. Forget big announcements. Forget big promises. Focus on one thing: daily action. Small, consistent, intentional. Because success is not built in one moment. It's built in repetition, in silence. Step 4. Get comfortable with invisibility. This is where most people fail. They want recognition. They want to be seen. They want validation. But real growth happens when no one is watching. So learn to be okay with no applause, no attention, no external validation, because that's where discipline is built. Step 5. Let results make the noise. You don't need to talk. Your results will speak for you. And when they do, you won't need to explain anything, because people will see it. Now I want you to think about this. What is one goal you've been talking about, but not executing? Don't overthink it. Be honest. And if you're serious about changing, comment below. No more talking, time to act. Because the moment you commit to that, you shift from intention to execution. At this point, you already understand the power of silence. You know what to do. So why do most people still fail? Because knowing is not the same as doing. Most people hear this, agree with it, feel motivated, and then do nothing. They go back to the same habits, the same patterns, the same need to be seen, and slowly, everything fades. Not because the strategy doesn't work, but because they don't apply it. Reason number 1. They crave attention. This is the biggest one. People don't just want success. They want recognition. They want others to see that they're trying, that they have plans, that they're doing something, and that need destroys focus. Because instead of working, they perform, they talk, they post, they explain, and that creates a false sense of progress, but no real results. Reason number 2, they can't handle silence. Silence is uncomfortable. When you're not distracted, when you're not talking, when no one is validating you, you're left alone with yourself, your thoughts, your doubts, your insecurities. And most people run from that. So they go back to noise, back to distractions, back to autopilot, because it's easier. Reason number 3, they stop too early. They try for a few days, maybe a week. They stay quiet, they focus, they do the work. But when results don't come fast, they quit and go back to talking, back to announcing, because talking gives instant feedback. Work doesn't. Reason number 4, they underestimate consistency. People think success comes from big actions. It doesn't. It comes from small actions, done every day, in silence, without recognition, without applause. And that's why it's hard, because it's invisible. And most people don't trust what they can't see immediately. The real difference. The difference between those who win and those who stay stuck is simple. One group talks about it, the other works on it. One seeks attention, the other builds results. One needs to be seen, the other needs to grow. And over time, that difference becomes massive, because while one is explaining, the other is evolving. The truth you need to face. If you keep talking more than you act, you will stay exactly where you are, not because you lack potential, but because you lack execution. And execution requires silence, focus, discipline. Now everything comes down to this. What kind of person are you going to be? The one who talks or the one who does? Because in the final part, we're going to make this decision real, not just something you think about, but something you commit to. At this point, there's nothing else you need to learn. You already know what's holding you back, what you need to do, what needs to change. So now, this is not about knowledge anymore. It's about a decision. Because your life won't change. Because you watched this video, it will change. Because of what you do after it ends. Right now, you have 2 paths. You can close this video, go back to your routine, pick up your phone, tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, and stay exactly the same. Or, you can do something different. Not something big, not something dramatic, something simple. Stay silent, and start working. No announcements, no explanations, no need to prove anything. Just action. Because from this moment on, every time you feel the urge to talk about your plans, that's your signal. Not to speak, but to act. Let your work replace your words. Let your discipline replace your excuses. Let your results make the noise. And understand this. Nobody needs to know what you're building until it's built. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, think about one goal. Just one. The one you've been talking about, but not executing. Got it? Good. Now make a decision. You're not going to talk about it anymore. You're going to work on it, in silence, every single day, no matter what. And if you're serious about this, I want you to prove it. Not to me, to yourself. Comment below. Silent mode on. Because the moment you commit to that, you stop performing and start becoming. Your life doesn't change when you talk about it. It changes when you build it. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly.